Imagine getting up every day full of energy as if you were in your 20s again. What would that be like? What would it be worth to you? What is your health worth to you? Think about it. Your health isn't everything, but without it, everything else is nothing. And yet, too many of us are taking it for granted until something goes wrong. And no one wakes up hoping to be diagnosed with a disease or chronic illness. And yet, we've never been taught how to be proactive in our health through our school or public health. As a registered health coach and integrative health practitioner, I believe it's time this information is made available to everyone. Combining new knowledge around your health and the ability to do my functional medicine lab tests in the comfort of your own home will allow you to optimize your health for today and all your tomorrows. Don't wait for your wake-up call.
Welcome back to another episode of the Don't Wait for Your Wake-Up Call podcast. I am Melissa Deely, your host, and today I have with me Teresa Syms. Welcome to the show, Teresa.
Thanks, Melissa. It's so great to be here with you.
I am excited to have you here, and let me introduce you to the audience. Teresa Syms is the founder of ASCENDU Coaching, an award-winning author and a highly respected master NLP and timeline therapy practitioner, hypnotherapist, and certified CBT coach. She is known for her deeply intuitive, solutions-focused approach to personal transformation and emotional healing. Teresa's work is rooted in her own powerful journey. After surviving a debilitating back fracture and profound grief of losing her loved ones within 6 months, she found herself searching for a way to reclaim her life. And in that search, she discovered the body of work that ultimately saved her: NLP, i.e. neuro-linguistic programming, timeline therapy, and hypnotherapy. And I'm very proud to say that she received her master practitioner training through our academy, Amplify Impact Academy. Through these possibilities, or these modalities, she rebuilt her identity, released years of trauma, and uncovered a renewed sense of purpose and possibility. Today, Teresa brings that same transformative power to others. She helps clients break through unconscious limitations, heal emotional wounds, and create aligned, meaningful change from the inside out. With a unique blend of mastery, compassion, and lived resilience, she guides individuals toward clarity, confidence, and a true personal freedom. Teresa is an award-winning author for her book, A Century of Secrets, and hosts the podcast Powering Through Life, which I'm very honored to have been a guest on, where she shares real, honest conversations and practical tools that inspires listeners to rise from adversity and step boldly into their authentic lives. And so, Teresa, I always love to start by just going back a little bit and sharing the backstory that led to that place where you suffered your broken back and came into that time of great difficulty in your life that I know you also look back on now with gratitude, because you know that everything is happening for you and that taught you lessons that you needed to learn. What led you there, though?
Oh my goodness, it was a long journey. My entire life was filled with abuse, neglect, spousal abuse, childhood abuse, and I faced a near-death car accident in 2007. But you just power through. You just keep going, because that is what I was taught. That was what was demonstrated to me as a young person, was you don't talk about it, you don't ask questions, you just do. And a lifetime. Yeah, absolutely. Very true. Programming, patterns, habits that were created, whether they be unhealthy or healthy, they were stored in my unconscious mind. And I absolutely had no idea how that can, over a lifetime, create so much uncomfortableness, so much dis-ease, as we call. And in 2023, I came full force with everything that had occurred. I had brushed it all off. I had just said, no, I'm strong, I'm resilient, I can do whatever I want, powered through it. But that was my that was my conscious mind talking. Yeah. That was my conscious mind trying to rule the show. And as I've learned, willpower is definitely not enough. It serves you to a point, but you really need to go into the unconscious mind to find the solutions. And in 2023, it was just after our Canadian Thanksgiving. I had hosted a big meal the day before, and I was going outside on that beautiful day to collect my dogs who were refusing to come in the house for whatever reason. And I actually misstepped on the top step of our deck. And I went sailing out and landed 4 feet down on the bottom wooden step. I like to call in the V-sit position of Pilates.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Sitting straight up with my hand landing in our cactus plants that we had decorating the staircase. It was at that moment of impact where I realized how life can change in the split second.
Yes.
I couldn't speak. I could barely breathe. I was in so much pain.
Mm-hmm.
And no one was home.
Oh.
My neighbors weren't even home. I didn't have my phone with me because at that time I wasn't carrying my cell phone. We still had a landline. And I sat there for I don't know how long, just trying to find the courage and the ability to stand up, crawl up the stairs and get to the phone to call someone, to call my husband to come home. As I say, I have no concept of time at that point. I couldn't feel my legs. I couldn't get a deep breath. My eyes were just watering profusely. And I realize now that it's my soul that was crying.
Right.
There was something so deep within me that needed to be addressed and needed to be answered, and I hadn't faced in my life. And this was my wake-up call.
Yes. And I always say to people that the body will always take what it needs. If we ignore all the symptoms leading up to it, eventually the body's like, I'm done. I'm done. I can't keep doing this. I need a break. And something happens in order to literally have you flat on your back.
Absolutely. And I was that type of person that, okay, so I had herniated discs. I'd had severe damage to my neck from multiple concussions and a car accident. Didn't matter. I just did what I had to do. I wasn't listening. I wasn't paying attention. And when you don't listen, it took a lot, and it took something really profound to get me to pay attention.
Yes. And the universe doesn't give up either. Right?
No.
So it keeps sending you bigger and bigger messages. And another thing that I say is, first of all, listen so your body doesn't have to yell at you. And to take it another step is listen when your body whispers. At first, it just feels like the gentle touch of butterfly wings.
Yeah.
And if you ignore it, it will be the 2x4. So the 2x4 were your car accidents. And if you ignore that, watch out. There's a wrecking ball coming.
Very true.
And you went through all of that. And now you know that, and you look back and you can see all of the stages that led you to where you were. However, you were doing what you thought was right. You were functioning in your programming. You were pushing through. You were being strong. You were being resilient. All of those things you'd been taught.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you were ignoring your own needs, looking after everybody else in that process, until your body said, enough is enough. I'm done. And in that moment, you slip down the stairs, and now your body gets what it wants ultimately, because you were flat on your back for a long time.
Very true. And this was in COVID was still going on, and there was very little medical help at that point in time for me. The ambulance attendants didn't believe me because the city we lived in has a huge drug problem, and they just assumed that I was looking for drugs. And I honestly said to them, can you not, in your expertise, tell the difference? There were so many signs and signals. And it got to the point where they gave me two options to get into the ambulance or to get onto the stretcher, which they actually refused to bring into the home. They said, we can carry you out in a chair, but keep in mind, this guy, he's new and he's never done it before. And at that point in time, I could not take any type of movement unless I was in charge of that type of movement. And so the other option was, well, you can walk out to the stretcher, which was in the driveway. They argued with me for so long. In my stubbornness, my willpower, my programming said fine, and my masculine energy at the same time was just saying, all right, fine, I'll get up and I'll walk out. And that's what I did. And this had already been almost 2 hours after I had fallen. And I got to the stretcher. They wanted me to lay flat on my back, which, oh my goodness, just about the pain. Melissa, I have never in my life, this pain was 150 out of 100.
Yeah.
I've had children. I've had multiple surgeries, reconstructive surgeries on my ankle. This was beyond anything I was able to handle. And when I finally got to the stretcher and she wanted to strap me down, I said, look, I'm actually going into shock right now. She said, no, you're fine. You're just cold. I said, look, I know what this feels like. I am going into shock. My body was actually vibrating.
Right.
And I couldn't control my breath at this point in time. She said, oh, it's fine. We'll give you a warm blanket when we get you in the ambulance. Okay. I gave up. I said, fine, just get me some help. So I got on the stretcher, strapped down. My eyes were still watering, crying. And I was totally out of control for that part. So I believe, as we know, our unconscious mind takes the lead.
Yes.
And it was telling me that I was needing a lot of help. Finally, we got to the emergency unit in the hospital. They parked me in the hallway and said, okay, well, if you need the bathroom, it's down the hall. And they left. And I thought, oh, this is ridiculous. Like, I could barely walk.
And shouldn't have been walking.
No, because I knew there was something seriously wrong. I could feel it and I could sense it. But yeah, so anyway, I laid for 4 hours in a cubicle. And then finally the doctor decided he would x-ray my back to find out what was going on, because he absolutely didn't believe me either. The x-rays, when he received them, he came back to me with a box of Kleenex, and his demeanor had completely changed. And he said, when you fell, this is what happened. And he smashed the box of Kleenex together. And he said, you have a compression fracture of your T12 vertebrae. And I looked at him and I said, I know. And I don't know how I knew, but I knew there was something seriously wrong. And he said to me, okay, well, here you go. Have this bottle of morphine. Go home and rest. I thought, oh, thank you. That's great. What about physio? What about, anything? What do I do? Just go home and rest. So luckily, I had the experience of an incredible physiotherapist I had worked with many years ago after my car accident, who actually empowers her patients to take control of their lives, take control of their health care, take control of what they feel is right and wrong, and advocate for themselves. And great lessons that everyone should learn: how to approach your own health care with confidence and information that you can actually teach others. My husband purchased me a zero gravity lawn chair. Mm-hmm. And that was about the only way I could be for months.
Right.
It was challenging. He was home with me for 3 days, and then he had to go back to work. So I was home alone, trying to navigate this new, how do I do this kind of scenario. And everything that I had learned previously about, okay, let's learn how to walk again. Let's do whatever stretching we can. Let's use heat, moist heat. Let's use ice, medication when necessary. And I believe I used the medication for about a month. And then I was just, no, this has to stop. I do not want to become addicted to it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't really doing the job anyway. So life went on. A few months later, I was up and I was walking, and life went on. And I was still coaching at that point in time, but I was beginning to lose my love for it. And I decided I've had enough. Once I was able to walk and sit at my desk for a little bit and do things, decided I would just go take a job in data entry, just for an income, just for less stress, less pressure. Was I surprised? The universe does really give you what you need. I survived this position for 5 months. I survived with what skills I had, the stress, the pressure, the backstabbing from team members was absolutely ridiculous. I walked away from that position saying, this was the best mistake I ever made in my life. I learned what I will accept and what I will not accept. I learned how I will teach people how I will be treated and not allow others to affect me when they're being negative and attacking. And that is their issue. That's not mine. So
mistakes always teach us something, right?
They do. And
there is no such thing as failure. It is just feedback. You got a lot of feedback in that job.
Definitely. And the lessons, oh my goodness. At the same time this position was happening, I had lost 2 uncles who were very, very dear to me. And a month after I quit the job, I found out my brother had passed away. And had not been told, because there was an odd relationship in that part of the family. But he and I were very, very close. And then at the end of the month, we lost one of our dogs suddenly. The grief,
yes, was
just swallowing me whole. I didn't know where to turn. I didn't know who to approach. I did talk to a counselor friend of mine. It was not what I needed at that point in time, let's say. I know she's exceptional at what she does, but for me, it was not what I needed. And I had actually signed up to do a course with Dr. Edith Egger, very lovely elderly lady who survived Auschwitz. Right. And yeah, and her course was all about finding your North Star.
Right.
And it was through trance, through hypnotherapy, where you went and you located your North Star, and you also future paced your learnings that you took. So this intrigued me incredibly. And then I reached out to a coach friend of mine in Australia and thought, okay, maybe this is the route I need to take. And she introduced me to NLP deeper and timeline therapy. I did the training. It was extremely helpful and informative. And 2 years later, I found you and Billy through an odd connection. It was very interesting how you showed up on a webinar I was participating in that day. And I thought, okay, I know this work. I need to dive deeper. And then I retrained with you and Billy and an Amplified Impact Academy. And it reinstalled my love for the work that I meant to be doing on this earth.
And that was actually exactly a year ago this week.
It was, yeah.
You said yes, you jumped in and you audited our prac training and you took our master practitioner training, and you have been moving forward ever since, working with clients and continuing to heal yourself, because this work is all about ourselves first. We can only help others once we've done our own inner work. And I love how you embrace it, and would love for you to share your experience with these modalities and how NLP and timeline therapy have taught you to and helped you recover from a lifetime of trauma and abuse.
Absolutely. NLP is about changing your language, how you speak to yourself, even without using your voice. Your unconscious mind is always listening. Yeah. It's always hearing what you're thinking, what you're saying, what other people are saying to you. And it's all about changing the words you use, rather than saying, cancel, 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 I'm not good enough. The language shifts and say, I am good. I am exceptional. I am powerful. It's all about shifting the mindset and shifting the words that we say. And that, as I said that, I can feel my body just rising, the energy rising up, because it knows that's what it needs to hear. It's telling me that it's all flowing beautifully.
In alignment, yes.
And timeline therapy for me was a beautiful experience the first time. And every time I do it, because as we go through our day, things do get through, negative events, negative emotions that have stuck to us from our young years. If we had a significant event, which I've had many significant events throughout my lifetime, but it can also be past lives and passed down to you. You go in and you clear out those negative emotions, the anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, rage, and shame. And there's other ones that we can clear out as well. When you clear out those emotions that are attached to those events no longer charge your everyday. You remove the emotional charge of that event. And it just becomes, for me, it's become memories. Just things that have occurred that I have changed my process around. And I can now say, yes, those events happened to me, but I've learned so much from them. And I can take those learnings and put them out into my future, so that when I get to that point in my future, I know good things are sitting there waiting for me. And hypnotherapy has been exceptional for me as well. And I use it with clients as well. It is all about just calming your nervous system down, just putting you in a deep state of relaxation and allowing you to just be. And if there are suggestions that are needed for constructive purposes, that's where they're installed as well. And it's a beautiful modality to just assist with peace and calm and tranquility.
Yes. And I love how you use these techniques, and in doing this work for yourself, you did heal all of that history of all of those significant emotional events, which had otherwise been stuck in your body, all of the stuffed down emotion, all of those limiting beliefs, which were programmed in at such a young age and then added to over the course of your lifetime. And all of that causes dis-ease of the body and has your nervous system just firing in the sympathetic nervous system constantly. And that's where you had been living and thinking that you had to just keep pushing through. You had to just get to the next thing and then it would be okay. Yeah. And yet the next thing never came, because the next thing that you thought you needed to get to that was outside of you wasn't what you needed. You needed to be healing what was inside of you.
Absolutely. And it's amazing when you start healing the inside, everything changes. I've had 2 breast cancer scares. I was not paying attention to my health. I was not paying attention to what I needed. I was raised that you don't really matter. You're nowhere on the list. Everyone else is more important. I've changed that thought process where I am the list. I am on the top of the list. My health is paramount to everything else. And with doing this work, you can actually help the body heal. And I wasn't aware of that. And it's a beautiful thing to experience.
Absolutely. And our human body is so beautifully designed to self-heal when we create the environment for it to be able to do so. The
True.
body that is too toxic, that is too nutrient deplete, that doesn't have the energy, that is stressed out, a body can't heal in a stressed out state, cannot heal. And part of that toxicity is all the stuffed down negative emotions, all of those limiting decisions, as well as the actual chemical toxicity that gets into our body from all of the man-made chemicals that have been introduced in the last 100 years.
Yeah.
And you got to a place where you found this work, and then you started working on yourself. And that's a lesson that I learned about 10 years ago now as well. My programming was that it's selfish to look after yourself first, and you have to look after everyone else first. And then only if there's a few minutes left in the day, at the end of the day, you can look after yourself. And, you're a mom, I'm a mom. What mother with young children ever has time at the end of the day? No one.
Very true.
And so we just start to run on fumes, and the body can't heal. The body can't even, fight illness at that point because there's no energy left. It can only do so much. And so when I learned that self-care is the most selfless act, when I heard that, it made me do a head, twist my head like the puppy dog ear going, huh? And they said it again, and I'm like, oh my goodness, they're right. And I made a mantra, which is self-care is the most selfless act because it allows you to show up and give the world the best of you instead of what's left of you. Along with that saying, you can't serve from an empty cup. We're brought up with this notion of being of service to others, which is a wonderful notion. However, if there's no energy to do it, how do you do it? You cannot. When you look after yourself first, you have so much more to give others. And that was part of the learning through this process, and why the universe kept coming back to you and taking you down, because it was like, Teresa, you need to rest, you need some time out, and you need to go inward. You need to look after you first.
Yeah, absolutely. And last fall, my husband and I both came down with a virus. We still don't know what it was, but it flattened us both for 3 months. And I had actually started working with a naturopathic doctor. And she actually looked at me and she honestly said those words to me, how long have you been running on empty?
Yeah.
And I thought about it briefly. And the first thing that came to me was all my life. All my life. It's time to change. And it's time to grow and it's time to heal. And I've been doing that work daily, multiple times a day to keep myself in a good place, to keep my language positive, to keep my thoughts positive, and to serve my clients as well.
And because you know how to do that now, to keep your language positive and your thoughts positive, and you do your monthly cleanups because
Absolutely.
life happens, right? It's not, all of this work isn't one and done. You don't go to the gym and do one workout and go, okay, good, I'm fit for life. Excellent. We have
That
to
would be
put
nice.
regular effort. Whether it's our physical body, our emotional body, our mental body, our spiritual body, there has to be regular effort. It is a journey. And it is a journey all the way to the end. And the end is further away the more you look after all four of your bodies.
Yes. Absolutely. It's the greatest gift you can give yourself. And that is the thing that I have learned. And to just put my boundaries in place as well. Boundaries, people think boundaries are, oh, I'm putting a wall up. You can't come near me. I don't want to talk to you. No, that's not what it is. Boundaries are a way of just retaining and keeping in who you are, what you stand for, and what your beliefs are, and not allowing any negativity or other people's projections or other people's perceptions to be absorbed into you, because that's theirs. That's not yours.
Exactly. And that kind of leads into the next question that I wanted to ask you, and you've started answering it, and I'm going to allow you to go deeper, is to talk about this new ability that you have to now quiet the chaos and go after what you want in life. For so long, it was about serving everybody else, and life was busy and chaotic. And now you've learned to quiet that and choose what you want for you and to live your life your way. Let's talk about that and that process and how your life is different now as a result.
Oh my goodness. My life is so different than it was. I am in such a peaceful place, even though chaos is happening around me.
Mm-hmm.
And I support my husband with his situations that occur. We are a couple, we do things together. However, I have learned that whatever is going on in his world will not negatively impact me. I have learned to just put my bubble up as protection and to understand that I can serve, I can help compassionately and from a place of actual life experience and knowledge and wisdom that life gave me. And I've understood that this is my time. And I do my daily sun strategies. I do my bubble. And I listen to guided visualizations a lot. I create my own, as we can do, hypnotherapy tracks. And just knowing when something occurs, some negative thought happens or you see something occurring, you just stop. For example, we went into town a couple of days ago, and driving home, I'm sometimes a terrible passenger when my nervous system is on alert because of the car accident I had before. I was hit head on. You see those things, and we've worked on removing the charge of that. When I didn't think my husband was going to stop at a stoplight, I yelled out. Honestly, it's the first time in a very long time I've yelled out and said, "Stop!" Not trusting that he knew he was fine. He was capable of driving, but my nervous system was on high alert from the day. And then I was just like, no, stop, breathe. I'm fine. Nothing happened. It was just me in that fight, flight, freeze, fawn situation. And when you can recognize it and stop it immediately, that's, to me, is growth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that you've done all of this work now. And you can look back and you can see how far you've come.
Absolutely.
And how it's shifted your life and how now you are helping others and using it every day for yourself.
Absolutely. 4 years ago, when all that stuff went on and I was swallowed up in grief, I was unable to function. I didn't leave my house. I couldn't be around people. And doing this work has given me the tools to be able to recognize when something is occurring, how to stop it, how to change it, actually, and put it and reframe it into something positive. So, for example, when I didn't think he was going to stop, no, wait, I do trust him. He's a good driver. I'm fine. It's okay. And nothing happened.
It's brought you all of this awareness, which
Absolutely.
we talk about. Awareness is so important because we actually spend 95% of our day in trance, running on our programming, doing things that we do all the time, completely outside of our awareness. And everyone's experienced this. If you drive from point A to point B and you get to point B and you don't remember the last 10 minutes of your drive, guess what? You were driving in trance.
Yeah.
And we've all done that. However, through this work, what you've chosen to do is bring more to your awareness, to your conscious awareness, so you can make better choices for yourself.
Absolutely.
And I love that you you use these tools each and every single day. So, Teresa, I love to ask every single guest that comes on this show the same question. And you already told us what your wake-up call was. However, I want to ask you that question differently. What does "don't wait for your wake-up call" mean to you?
It means we have multiple opportunities every second of every day to take and make a different choice. And we have that ability to choose. And why not choose what's happy, healthy, and makes you joyful in life?
I love that. And how often do we keep making the same choices, expecting something different? And that's literally the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a new result.
Yeah.
So I love that you said that. Why not make a new choice?
Yeah.
That's beautiful. So
it's just sitting there waiting for us.
Exactly.
It's been presented to us.
Yes.
Go for it.
Yes, absolutely. So I love that you are back into your coaching now with so many more tools to work with and help your clients also overcome everything in their life that is holding them back. How can people get hold of you if they would like to reach out and work with you?
Thank you. They can reach me. They can email me at info@ASCENDU, and it's a capital U, coaching.com. They can find me on my website is in construction at this point in time, so it's up. They can reach me at ASCENDUcoaching.com. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. Reach out, and they can probably even reach me through the Amplified Impact Academy.
That is true. If anybody reached out to us and asked to be connected with you, we can absolutely do that. Beautiful. Now, you are very generously offering a gift to the audience of something called "What Am I Tolerating?" Would you like to just explain that, please?
It's a little checklist, a little thought process and a checklist to just go through every day and ask yourself, what am I tolerating? Am I tolerating doing this task for someone that I really don't want to do? Why am I doing that? What am I doing that for? What's the purpose? So it's just a thought process and just a questionnaire of creating awareness around what we're tolerating and not what we're tolerating when we should be moving towards what we actually want and desire out of life rather than just putting up with.
I love that. A powerful document because, as you said, it's creating awareness. We can't change anything until we have awareness of where we're out of alignment, of where things aren't serving us. So that's beautiful. Thank you very much for offering that to the audience.
You're
and
welcome.
I also love to ask at the very end of every episode, do you have any last words of wisdom, advice, tips for the audience that we haven't touched on throughout this conversation that you would like to leave the audience with?
I would like to say we all have the strength, the courage, and the resilience and the information we need to make our changes in life. Willpower is not enough. Willpower will not get you where you want to be. Go deep into yourself. The answers are there. They're sitting there waiting for you. All you need to do is just get in touch. And it's very easy through the work that we both do.
That's absolutely beautiful. So if any part of this episode resonated with you, that's the sign from the universe saying, yes, follow that path. Reach out to Teresa because she can guide you on your journey to getting in touch with your inner self and bringing that everything to awareness that needs to be addressed and releasing what is no longer serving. So I highly recommend you reach out to Teresa. And if you're hearing this episode and maybe it's not for you, and yet there's someone in your life that you know needs to hear this, please share it with them. It is a gift for people to know that there are more solutions than just going to a doctor and being described a pill for every ill. So thank you, Teresa, for being on the show, sharing your wisdom, your learnings, your journey. I love that you've been through it. You've walked the walk that you talk, and now you guide others through it. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your courage. And thank you for now sharing this with others. It has been a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you, Melissa. It's been an honor to share with you and your listeners.
I am pleased to share with you a new training called Karma Code Timeline Therapy Practitioner Certification. This training is a powerful 3-day live on Zoom session teaching you how to help others in clearing all of their stuffed down emotion of anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, rage, and shame, without them having to talk about any of the situations that ever caused the root of that anger, and release it from the cells in their body and have them feeling light. And also to release all of the BS stories running around in our head of being unlovable, unworthy, not good enough, powerless, etc., etc. And get rid of all of that chatter and allow them to have peace and quiet in their head. This training is transformational for your clients and for you, because during the training, you get to experience it both as a practitioner and a client, and release all of that garbage for yourself and clear out your emotional body, your mental body, and keep them clear so that all of that stuffed down emotion isn't causing dis-ease later in your life. Check out the show notes for the link. Our first training is happening in 2026.